Dr. Franklin's Island is a young adult science fiction book by Ann Halam, published in 2002. It is narrated in the first person, loosely based on H.G. Wells' The Island of Dr. Moreau. It tells the story of three teenagers who end up on an island owned by Dr. Franklin, a brilliant but insane scientist who wants to use them as specimens for his transgenic experiments. Plot: a plane to a research facility in Ecuador crashes in the ocean, and the only survivors are three children: Semi Garson, the narrator; Miranda, a brave girl; and a boy called Arnie. Must swim to the nearby island and survive on their own. Soon Arnie disappears and the girls are taken hostage in an island by Dr. Franklin and his assistant Dr. Skinner, who perform transgenic experiments on them. This transforms the girls into a bird and a manta ray who can still communicate through radio chips planted in the new bodies. It is revealed that the missing Arnie, also a prisoner, is eavesdropping on them and reporting the conversations to the scientists. Arnie tells the two girls that there is a cure to the condition and says that he will try to help them by obtaining it. Semi soon begins to covertly receive the treatment, learning that Skinner is getting her the doses of antidote. Skinner frees her from the lockup, horrified by the experiments. Semi, now a full human again, finds the snake and discovers that it is Arnie. They are recaptured by Franklin, who also have Miranda trapped in a net. They attack in a desperate last stand, and the scientist is killed after smashing into an electric fence. Semi, Miranda and Arnie escape to the mainland in a boat. On the way home, Semi gives Miranda and Arnie the antidote, and she returned to being human. They arrive in Ecuador, where they tell a cover story for their adventures, and are returned happily to the parents. The story ends with Semi's concerns that the transgenic DNA is still in the cells, and that they may have specific cues that will return them to being animals, and her dreams for a world that will allow her and Miranda to become the creatures they were on the island without barriers between them. Reception: Debbie Carton of Booklist praised the novel for the moving narrative, which she said adeptly illustrated the teens' concern with appearance and conformity, despite their quandary. Journalists of Publishers Weekly called the book a nightmarish thriller of white-knuckle intensity, and lauded its characterizations. Elizabeth Bush of the Bulletin of the Center for Children's Books noted that the novel would be no more than a B-movie embarrassment had Halam not skillfully pulled her plot together at the end. Jane P. Fenn of School Library Journal called it an astonishing and terrifying science fiction adventure. Roger Sutton of the Horn Book Guide to Children's and Young Adult Books wrote that although dry, Franklin's Island has over-hasty plotting, it is a solid adventure story informed by ethical questions of current import. Victoria Neumann of Times Educational Supplement noted that the story was viable because Halam based it on an almost banal teen perspective. Journalists of Teacher magazine commented that the novel effectively addresses animal rights issues and the ethics of genetic engineering.